Julia Momose is the owner of Bar Kumiko in Chicago, and an incredible story. Cannot wait for you to take us on the journey.
My career doesn't come down to one single moment or even choice, but rather it's a culmination of small interactions and decisions throughout the course of my life, of losing myself and finding myself over and over again. These are the things that make me who I am and have been a part of my evolution in this hospitality industry. I started when I was high school, and I was trained to apologize for who I am in a small windowless room with a blackboard and a hospitality instructor who said two things to me that I'll never forget. The first was, the trash doesn't smell bad. This is a lesson in conscious control, understanding that reactions to environment have power. They affect everything around us, and we have the decision to control our impulses and thus create a better experience. The other is, if you surprise people with the way that you look, apologize. Apologize for shocking them. Apologize for not looking how they expect. Apologize for not being Japanese, because they will only hear imperfect Japanese from you now. This windowless room was in Daimaru. It was a high-end department store in Kyoto. My entire life growing up mixed in Japan was only heightened by this experience. I don't look Japanese enough, and appearances, they're everything, no? If I crinkle my brow at a smile, or if I shudder at a sudden noise, everyone around me will feel that and hear that, and I have to control those impulses. I have to change who I am. Over time, I've changed these lessons into things that I try to stay focused on, and I've rewritten them into the sense that the guests shouldn't feel how busy we are. We can move with grace and intention. The trash still doesn't smell, but the expectation of the guests as to who we should be shouldn't set our tone, but rather we should hold respect and grace for ourselves. About a year later, I moved to America for university and worked at a food truck by the residence halls at Cornell. Nick Kao would saunter up to the window and lean in, waiting to catch my gaze. Without missing a beat, he'd say, "Hi, how are you doing?" And he would wait for a response. He gave me space, understanding that his order of Cajun fries with a chocolate steak and a cheesesteak could wait for just a moment, because he wanted to connect with the person who was standing in that window. I didn't recognize it at the time, but over the years, I realized that that was something that I needed to do more in my life. Nix is the only name that I will mention because his impact was heightened by his untimely death. He was my first great loss, and a reminder that we must treasure every moment that we get. We are about 2.5 minutes or so into this presentation. My timer's not working. But did you realize what I skipped? Were you waiting for it when I came onto the stage? Were you caught up into the insistence of this type of presentation? Allow me a moment to just say hello. Hi. Konnichiwa. Thank you so much for being here today. It really means a lot. I feel like there's so many moments in my life where I've just rushed through instead of stopping to be still and connect. It's a fine line that we toe in our industry between being the model employee or the model boss. We're flowing effortlessly from task to task, and I haven't always stopped to say hello. One of those genuine look you in the eyes, "Hi, how are you doing?" Instead, my greetings come in the form of a laundry list of to-dos just spilling from my lips, trying to keep up with the beat of my racing heart. My team is walking into what is a swirl of my hour 3 or 5, just clocking in. But I woke up like this, born into a culture that beats the steady drum of the intensity of expectations. But what does all of this mean if we don't actually connect with anyone? If I can stop for a moment and connect with someone, my team, the delivery driver, my guests, then our entire evening is pitched in consonance instead of dissonance, an environment where we can flow together, and I owe this understanding to Nick. I took a leave of absence from school, and I never returned. I went home instead, and I took a moment to recenter and try to figure out what I was doing with myself and with my life, and I happened upon a small bar in Kobe. There, the bartender hand-chipped perfect spheres of ice for every single drink, even a rum and coke. And I realized that me saying that shows the shadow of implicit bias that we have in the value of a thing, a drink, whether it's a person or anything like that that comes into our space. Everyone comes with an expectation and a hope. of all of the different people that come in and out of our bars, 50, 100, 200 guests, together they will notice everything that's differently important to them. So it's important for us to realize that everything is important too. My final moment of many, but only a few that I can share today, happened at a place where I was working, where the expectations were high, as they should be. The team, we were dialed in as we should be, but where the mentality was me's over people. We were breaking down the bar and it involved hauling pieces downstairs, lugging them back up metal stairs. And my teammate tripped and fell. The echo of this metal piece hitting the stairs reverberated through the space, and the manager came running through the door. He picked up that metal piece. "Is it scratched?" he asked. She stood up and walked into the alley, tears in her eyes. "He cares more about the f***ing piece of metal than he does about me. I am a person." And that struck me. It took me back into that room where I was a student of hospitality in Japan, just in high school, told that the trash doesn't stink. And I realized, sure, the trash can stink, and yes, we can control how we react to it, but at the end of the day, this is all about people. The me's. When everyone is supported, when we are there for each other, when we're truly connecting, then the me's will fall into place, because the business is people here, and the foundation must be caring for each other. These are my moments. Taking out the trash. Hi, how are you? Everything matters, and people first. I hope that you find space for yourself to lean into all of the moments that you're gonna have today, this week, throughout the rest of your career, and make time for them. Domo arigato.